Hi, kindergarten. Welcome back for your next art lesson. I hope you got to watch the video on colors, and if you did, you'll know that red, yellow, and blue make the primary colors. And today we're going to be working with Model Magic, and we're going to make some beads for a necklace. Now, in the video, it showed that you can mix your primary colors together to get new colors. So I want us to see that for ourselves. So if you have Model Magic, which you can get at a craft store, like Michael's, or if you made homemade Model Magic, that's great. If you didn't make Model Magic or have Model Magic, which is like a type of clay, you can always use paint or food color to see how the colors mix together and change. All right, so we're going to get started, and I'm going to open up my packs of Model Magic. And I'm not going to use a lot. Maybe about a third of the package. So here's some blue. And here's some yellow. And here's some red. So the very first thing I'm going to do is make a bead out of red. So I have a red bead, and I'll have a blue bead, and I'll have a yellow bead. So how do you make a bead? So there's a couple different ways. So I've pulled off a little bit of red, and I can roll it in my hand until it looks like a ball. Okay, so that's one way you could make a bead. Another way, I'm going to do the same thing. Take some, I'm going to roll it in my hands, but this bead I want to be square. So what I'm going to do is press down with my fingers on the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to move my other fingers to the side, push that in, and then I'm going to go turn it and push the other side in. And that makes a square bead. You could also do an oval bead, which would be like rolling it in your hands, but it's a little bit longer and thinner than the circle. Kind of looks like a cylinder, like a soda can, almost. So you have to decide what shapes you want your beads to be. So I like the square one, so I'm going to use that one. And now that I have my shape, I'm going to take this big toothpick and I'm going to put a nice hole all the way through it. You see it coming out the other side? And I want to make sure it's big enough, so I'm just wiggling it around a little bit. I want to make sure I can see all the way through my bead. So I'm going to set that one up here at the top. All right, next I will make a blue bead. So you want to try to use about the same amount for each bead so they come out about the same size. Okay, so here's my blue square bead. Again, I'm going to poke my hole. So I guess when you make these square beads, they almost look like dice. If you have a game that has dice in it, you know what I mean. So I just want to make sure I'm wiggling it around a little bit, that I can see all the way through it. Now I'm going to put that one up here. And then I'll go ahead and make a yellow bead. So I'm rolling it and then I'm squishing it on the sides to make it that square shape. Like a cube. The shape is actually called a cube. And then I'm poking the hole through. Give it a little wiggle. Fix the shape a little bit, make sure the hole goes all the way through. All right. So now I have my 3 primary beads. Now I want to make my secondary beads. So with the rest of your Model Magic, I want you to make 2 smaller pieces of red. Okay, so I even have some left I'm going to put back in the package. And then I want you to make 2 smaller pieces of blue. So not as much as you use to make the beads. You don't need as much because you're going to be putting 2 colors together to make a bigger bead. Okay. And then 2 pieces of yellow. Okay, so next we're going to see what happens when we mix the colors. So I'm going to move my blue down here. So the first 2 colors I want to mix are red and yellow. So I'm going to take my red, I'm going to take my yellow, and I'm going to mush them together. Now, did they change color? No. So you have to pull and stretch and mush it and keep doing it. Just keep mixing it with your fingers and you will see something happening. Now you might need a little more yellow than red for this one. So if it's not changing as much as you want it to, then you'd have to add some more yellow to it. So I hope you're seeing a wonderful change. And this takes a couple minutes because you really have to mix it and mush it with your hands. And stretch it and pull it until you get a new color. And I hope everybody got orange as your new color. So red and yellow together make orange. Now, this is a little too big, so I'm going to pull some off. Then I'm going to make another square bead out of my orange I just made. And then I'm going to use my toothpick and poke a hole through and make sure it goes all the way through. It's good to flip it over on the other side and just make sure you have a hole that's big enough. There we go. So I'm going to set that in between. All right, next we're going to mix yellow and blue. So get some blue and some yellow and squish them together. Did they change color? No, not yet. Remember what you have to do. Pull and squeeze and twist and mush it together until you see something happening. Just keep working the clay. Keep working it. So you know if you mixed it well enough, if you don't see any of the other colors you started with. If you don't see any yellow anymore or any blue anymore, you know it's all mixed up. And what color did you get when you mixed yellow and blue? I hope you said green. So I'm going to make my bead of green. Now you know if I ever am going too fast, you can pause the video so you can get caught up. So there's my green bead. So I'm going to put that between the yellow and the blue. And we have two colors left to mix, red and blue. So I'm going to pick up my red and my blue and I'm going to squish them together. But they didn't change yet. So I have to pull it and mash it and twist it. So go ahead and do your red and blue. You should get a new color. I think in the song that we watched, it said you get a new hue. Well, hue is the same thing as color. That's a word that means color. Remember, you mix it until you can't see any red or blue anymore. And you should have gotten a new color. What did you get? I hope you said purple. Now, it might not look purple on your screen. Sometimes purple looks blue or black, but it is purple. So I'm going to make my bead and put the hole in it. And then I'm going to put it over here. So if you leave the colors in this order, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, that's another word for purple, you get a rainbow. That's how the rainbow goes. But let's look at it another way. From last week, remember we made color wheels? So if I put them in a circle, there's our color wheel. Red and green are opposite, purple and yellow are opposite, and blue and orange are opposite. And that makes our color wheel. So I'm going to put mine back in a line, and I'm going to let them dry. It usually takes a day or two for them to dry all the way. And then when I'm finished, when they're dry, I'm going to take a string or a piece of yarn, and I'm going to put the string through each bead until they're all together and they make a nice necklace for me to wear. Okay, so I hope you had fun mixing the colors, and I will see you for our next lesson. Our next lesson has to do with shapes and a special kind of bird. So I want you to think about that. I'll even give you a hint. It's a bird that lives near the ocean. So see if you can figure out what bird I'm talking about before the next video. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.